Today I ended a 4-day water fast, and I have been going to my job and cycling to work 10 miles a day, as well as doing the water fast and doing a full day's work, which I thought in itself was an achievement. I would not recommend it if you have never done water fasting before. I've done water fasting quite a few times over the last 6 or 7 years or so. If you're new to fasting in general, I wouldn't jump in the deep end like that. I would start slowly. I would gradually tippy-toe into the whole fasting environment because it can be a bit tricky, especially if you have any sort of health issues or your diet isn't the best. I wouldn't jump into fasting straight away. I would probably start with some kind of intermittent fasting. That's just my personal opinion, and from the information that I've gathered over the years, you can cause yourself problems like overloading your liver with toxins if you go into a deep cleanse like a water fast. You can shock your system, so you have to ease into it. And what I found to be the most beneficial and the easiest way to get into fasting is intermittent fasting. And I've mentioned this in a video down further in my page. You can go check it out. So basically what I've been doing for the last probably 6 months or so, probably a bit longer than that now, I've been just having food after the 6 p.m. So I don't have any breakfast, I don't have any lunch, don't have any snacks or anything through the day. I just drink water. I squeeze fresh lemon juice in the morning into my water, and that's what I drink throughout the day. So it's an electrolyte, so it helps the conductivity of your body. It's vitamin C, it works. So it's not a pure water fast I've done. I guess it's a vitamin C water fast. Actually, my very first fast was a juice fast. So I drank like a grapefruit and lemon juice and some orange juice, something like that. That's what I had the first time. That was a 3-day fast. I did that over a long weekend where I didn't have much to do. I needed that time off because I felt very lethargic, very lightheaded. It was a challenging experience, to say the least, so I wouldn't jump into it lightly. So that's why I'm recommending that you start off with intermittent fasting. Now, fasting is very beneficial because when you fast, the energy that you put into digesting food goes into cleaning out all the toxins in your body, repairing your system. For lack of a better word, the cancerous cells that our bodies produce daily, that our immune system takes care of, has more time to take care of and focus on cleaning that stuff out than it does when we're consuming and digesting food. It's really that simple. We don't need to go too far into the science behind it, but basically think about it. You have energy reserves, or what are you investing them in? Is it digesting more food that you probably don't need, or are you going to put that energy into actually improving the investment, which is your body, improving in that investment as it is, rather than just throwing more and more food at it that it doesn't need? And you know that because if you look in the mirror, a lot of you've got excess amount of body tissue that you would probably prefer not to have. And that's just an added side effect bonus of fasting as well. You tend to lose that stuff. You can lose muscle too, though. So that's another point I want to make. You need to be careful. If you don't want to lose body mass, you have to be careful. That's why intermittent fasting is so good, because that's less likely to happen in intermittent fasting, because you're still eating, you're changing your eating habit. So my experience with the intermittent fasting was only eating in the evening. So after work I eat, and that's it. I don't eat again until 24 hours later. So basically that's a 24-hour fast, and I'm doing that every day. I did not eat until after 5-6 p.m. every day, and just drank water throughout the day. I've lost, I think, about 3 or 4 kilos in that 4 days, which is not unusual for me. I tend to go up and down in weight randomly anyway, and I have been cycling to work a lot as well recently, so that's probably added to that. But I noticed that this time around I've been doing this water fast, but I've also been cycling to work, and it's quite a tough cycle because it's very hilly, and there's some cross-country off-road sections I have to go through. So it is quite intensive workout on the cardio and on the legs. getting up those hills. But I didn't fade. I noticed that when I was on the bike, I didn't fade. And when I was at work, I felt I had more energy at work than previously when I had been eating more regularly. But I think that was aided by the fact that I was, prior to that, for the last 6 months, doing the intermittent fasting anyway, so my body was kind of attuned to it. So that's why I recommend that you start off with the intermittent or the 24-hour fasting. Try it for a month and see how you get on. I guarantee you after a month you will continue, because it will become so natural to you. You'll think to yourself, why did I ever eat so much before that? And you will put so much more effort into preparing your meals in the evening that you'll naturally want to eat healthier, because it'll become more of a ceremony rather than you just stuffing your face with some ham and cheese sandwiches or whatever it is that people eat nowadays. I better reiterate, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a guy in a journey sharing my experience, sharing what I believe and I know to be benefit to me, which I think will be benefit to a lot of people out there. Now, there's some people going to say that you're giving out really dangerous advice, you're not qualified, all this. Do your own homework, do your discernment. Don't take everything as I say as gospel. I'm just speaking from my own experience. I can't speak to yours, I don't know your health condition. If you're unsure, then you should probably go seek advice from professionals, like nutritionists, your doctor, although the credibility of doctors nowadays is, you got to take responsibility for your health now more than ever, because you can't rely on the corporate health system that is controlled by an agenda that is not your friend. And I don't mean just greed, far more sinister than just mere greed, although that is definitely a factor and a mechanism for its propulsion for sure. But to put it simply, don't trust anybody else with your health. Take responsibility for it yourself. That this is very important, that we're all as healthy and as strong as we can be, and we're discerning. Discernment is key. You take responsibility and stop being lazy. Stop allowing other people to be responsible for your well-being. If you haven't figured out by now that the whole corporate health system is a scam, you've been duped. We've all been duped. It's time to take back responsibility. You don't have a choice, because if you don't, and you see what they've done so far, that there is no limit to what they'll do now. If they can get away with what they've done for the past 3 years, there's no stopping them. They want to give our health sovereignty away to a foreign body, the WHO. Who are those people? That's a good question. They don't have your best interest at heart. It's time to stop being naive and wake up. You don't have time, really don't have time. I've said this before in my videos, we don't have time for this anymore. There's a lot of you that are semi-awake, but you don't want to see the reality. You want to bury your head in the sand and make it all go away. As I said before, it's not going away. We're being poisoned on all fronts. The greatest attack is on the children. We were all children at some point, and we were all indoctrinated. We have to be open enough to understand that what we've believed up to now was most likely untrue, and untrue in a very malicious way. We've been indoctrinated to consume like mere livestock on a farm. We're indoctrinated to see ourselves as separate from the natural world, which is an absolute fallacy. We cannot survive without this natural world. We're desecrating this natural world with our beliefs, our ideas, our disregard for each other, for the environment. So on the one hand, this elitist agenda has us exactly where they want us. Well, at least they had us exactly where they want us. Now we're in the realm of uncertainty, because there are people waking up. The last 3 years hasn't gone exactly to plan. It has been the red pill for many of the sheeples, but at what cost? A great cost.